Hello and welcome to the Albuquerque Narrative Gamers podcast number 11, or the Rolling Bad podcast number, we're close to 200, so somewhere up there now. And yeah, AoS is 10 years old.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just had the anniversary of AoS not too long ago. And so we're going to kind of do a little retrospective of our life with in and around AoS. So
yeah, and that's why the mention of the Rolling Bad podcast is so important.
Yeah,
because almost 200 episodes, if you include the Albuquerque Narrative Gamer ones, and all that came about because of AoS.
Because of the AoS game, and Elric and James and I sitting at a Del Taco thinking, we could do that. What the hell? And so yeah, it's been a fun ride. I think I'm glad that we've branched out now because. Well, reasons we'll get to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. AoS is 10 years old. We have comfy chairs. Technology has gotten a little better over time. It's cool.
It is. It is. Also being able to branch out and really work with a lot of local gaming stores, as we've had, Vic on the show and all that. It's been really fun to expand out as we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the narrative gaming community is really strong.
Oh, yeah.
In New Mexico. Some folks, will get super, super crunchy and competitive with things, but, all in all, I think folks really like those, back in the day, the Path to Glory escalation leagues, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those kinds of things. Very popular around here.
Yes, those were always so much fun. And so many companies have seen that and have embraced it in different ways.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And speaking of, the narrative gaming community, there's a huge push for Warcrow from the local Corvus Belli guys.
Yep.
They generally play Infinity and they play competitive Infinity.
Yeah.
But they have, a whole offshoot of that group that's so dedicated to Warcrow, and they're super passionate. If there's a Corvus Belli game you want to play, if you want to try either one, these guys are over at the Wyoming Slice and Dice. If you happen to be in Albuquerque or in the area, go hit them up. If you want to get an intro game of Warcrow, they will sit down and do it with you.
You betcha.
And they'll show you how to play Warcrow up to the, competitive point levels.
Yep.
So great group there.
And I will say that they are super high competitive Infinity players. And you may not know this, but Albuquerque was truly on the map for a long time, and still is probably. In the Infinity scene, we had one of the biggest annual events here for Infinity. And those are the guys that were behind all of it.
Yeah.
They are super high-end competitive. They've been in it for a long, long time. And almost none of them are bad teachers of the game. They are just really good at, you're new, this is your third game? Here, let's do this. And they'll set it up, and they'll make it work so that you learn as much as possible about the game and how things work. And, even down to the point of Brian's like, hey, you want to learn military orders? I will show you. You want to learn Bakunin? I will show you how to play Bakunin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Thank you, sir. You're cool.
Yeah, and they don't just club baby seals.
No, none
they
of that.
really want you to learn.
Yeah.
And these guys are awesome. Very, very passionate. So if you're looking to get some CB games in and you're in the Albuquerque area, go hit these guys up.
This is the place. Yeah. You know what I'm super glad I did? I boycotted Ghosts of Yotai.
Until you bought it?
Because, I really didn't want it to be 1.7 million copies sold in the first 24 hours and one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my God, I just cannot believe how that game just cracked open sales numbers.
Wild, right?
It's awesome. It is so refreshing to see studios that actually put out games that people can care about, that are not Western dev AAA titles where they're more concerned with graphics and monetization than gameplay. I'm looking at you name it, Veilguard, everything else. And these guys are just kicking it. Absolutely off the hook. So much fun to see.
Oh my goodness, especially because side note, this is going to be the episode where Bill has to edit a lot of things that I have to say, so we'll see what actually gets through in post. But especially because this game got so much flack from red pill types.
Oh yeah,
there's female main character.
Yeah.
What? I can't do that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they have their old circa 1995 pictures of Lara Croft.
Oh, yeah.
Those old JPEGs where someone was able to do a little edit.
Yeah, that's my wallpaper, dude.
Yeah.
Just the ideas of the calls for the boycotts for this game, so stupid, so ridiculous, absolutely not understanding a damn thing about either the company or the game or the style or the genre, and just basically saying, oh no, that's horrible because I heard it was horrible.
Yes.
Not because I have experienced this and it is in some way offensive to me. No,
yes.
Just shut up. And then, the accusations of AI, which, were completely baseless. And then, the fact that one of the devs doesn't like Trump. Oh, yeah, we should definitely turn them off. Oh, my God. Really?
Did you see the numbers, though? Did you see the numbers? Those were like practically Oblivion numbers, like they hold off.
Yes.
For a brand new title. That is insane, and I'm really happy to see
1.7 million copies in 24 hours. That's more than most of the AAA game studios have sold in their first months. And I'm talking about, the Veilguards, the Starfields, all of the recent EA, Bethesda, you name it, flops that have come out. This has just basically done what they haven't been able to do in their history in the first day. So, yeah, tell me it's a messed up game. Now, my only point is I have bought it, and you'll hear it in After Dark why I cannot even begin to start it. I haven't even installed it yet because of the other games that I'm playing right now. And, oh, God dang, it's just terrible. So, I think that's our intro. I think that's all the stuff we wanted to hit on the way in.
Yeah, because there's been so much that's come out since. Oh my God!
Yeah, and we are late. Talked. It's been quite a while since the last show. Again, between traveling and being sick and just having a really bad return flight that left me in no position to record last week. It's been kind of weird, but we've got a lot of new stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, so let's get to it.
Let's do. So first up, I do want to mention, and this is a pet project thing of mine, but the Leviathans starter set from Catalyst Game Labs is out. If you remember Leviathans from way back in 2014, it's a phenomenally fun little steampunk airship combat game where basically the navies of the world have gone from water navies to air navies by using this cool technology that lets them fly the big ships instead of sailing them. And it's a super fun game. They have taken basically the original rules, tweaked a few things here and there, and left them pretty much intact. All new starter sets with all new miniatures, and they're big. They're not mini at all, but it comes with its own maps, and the starter set is great. It starts with the French and the Germans, so it's a great starter set, great intro to the game. If you liked that game, or if you think it's intriguing to have steampunk, I'm a big proponent of steampunk stuff, so that game is out there. Go buy it now.
Are these models pre-painted like the old ones?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you could just crack the box and go.
Yeah, you open the box, you start putting stuff down, and you start playing.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. Also from Catalyst Game Labs, these are the people that bring us BattleTech. They did bring out the 3025 Technical Readout Commemorative Edition. Now, if you're even remotely aware of BattleTech, you know that the 3025 Technical Readout was the defining, this is what put BattleTech on the map all those 40 years ago. It has all the best mechs, and there's two different versions of the book. There's the unseen version, and then there's the, oh dear God, let's not get sued by everybody in the world version. Because the original version had the Phoenix Hawk and all of that stuff in there that were direct ripoffs of the, Robotech.
Yeah.
Stuff. And that's where Harmony Gold sued them into submission and all that jazz, to where they had to come out with the second edition of the book that had all new redesigned artwork in it. Now, this 3025 commemorative is just an expanded 40-year-on version of that old book that just tugs at your heartstrings because it's like, oh my God, I forgot about that cool story about the locust. And, just such great stuff along with designer commentary and what have you. So great little book. Also from our friends at Catalyst Game Labs, which is Battletech, they came out with their Battletech Gothic, which is a continuum game in the Battletech expanded universe. I think it's comical that they're doing this. I know it's very divisive within the community, and I don't mean to be laughing at anybody that hates this thing, but this is basically a continuum game. They have taken the Battletech idea. They went back in time to where, the Battletech history started, and they just twisted it, and they turned it into a whole new history that we're living in for the Battletech world, where it just goes grimdark. It goes all 40K. Now, they don't license 40K or anything like that. They have their own storyline, but the mechs are actually now abominations, and they are chaos infused, and they are infused with all kinds of stuff. There is a very large lore book inside the Battletech Gothic starter box that explains all the lore and how we got to where we are today in that world. And then there's the rule book, which is pretty similar to Battletech. So if you can play Battletech, you can play this in about no time.
Yeah.
But you get 8 new models and all new scenarios and an all new different way to play. And I understand where some purists are like, hey, this is time and money they could be spending doing pure Battletech stuff. But I can also see where this is an expansion of the line. And the most obvious thing, I think, and a lot of places have called out to this, but the SKU number for the Battletech Gothic starter set is 40,000. Okay? It's literally written there 40,000 in big green letters. So yeah, it's comical to say the least, but it's definitely aimed at a group of people that might be playing a different game from a different company that like that grim, dark, Gothic setting and don't want to leave it. But now here's an opportunity to, all your terrain now becomes perfectly viable. Everything you have becomes perfectly viable. And, it's just a fun way to introduce a new group of people potentially to the hobby. And if they continue with it, okay, great. But they have announced a whole bunch of continuum type games where they're going to expand the universe a little bit by exploring different histories and alternate histories. And this is the first one. So I think it's a great start. I have it. I'm going to play it. I'm not going to gatekeep around it. I think it just looks fun.
Yeah, I think it's a really good way to create a bridge between, their game, their core game, and people who might play a game with a similar number to the SKU of this product.
Sure.
And it'd be fun to bring people over. Some people aren't willing to make that jump into Battletech. I still think it's probably one of the best sci-fi games that's out.
Yeah.
In terms of tabletop warfare, and it's skirmish based for the most part.
Yep.
You can't have your massive games like Bill if you have a couple of psychos.
Yeah.
But this would be a good way to sort of reach out and see if you can't grab a hand or two to bring it over to this side.
Yeah. It's a great little extension. And, one thing I'll always say about Battletech is it's infinitely scalable. If you want to play a very quick game that's going to take the same time as about a 40K game with 4 mechs on a side, but far more granularity in terms of the hitting and the damage and all that stuff. If you like the crunch, you cannot beat Battletech.
No.
But if you want to play a massive battle with 30 mechs on a side, you're still looking about the same time investment if you do it with the Alpha Strike rolls.
Yeah.
If you do it with pure Battletech rolls, forget it. That's the rest of your life.
Could you imagine?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can. Yes.
Oh, you've done it, right?
Yeah. So
we're taking 3 weeks off because we're playing 40 mechs.
We're renting
full rules.
We're renting a strip mall so that we can do this. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. So yeah, it's a ton of fun. And if Battletech has intrigued you, but the setting hasn't, maybe this will be your thing to get started. Gonna hit this next one probably a lot harder. Okay, a lot harder in After Dark. But the AD&D starter set is out, and what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? I bought it because they talked about how it was going to be the Keep on the Borderlands. You know, it was going to be that storyline reimagined.
Okay.
And it's a freaking board game. It's literally a board game in a box. It does so little to introduce you to tabletop role playing games. It's sad. It's just wow, Hasbro, really? And I get it. Wizards of the Coast has been denuded of a lot of the people that understood how the marketplace needs to operate for them to be successful. So those people are gone. So this seemed like a really good idea. But I mean, they have literally had to, on the website, they've had to put articles and chapters and all this stuff in there about how to tie the things inside this box together. Because if you just get this box, tying together the 3 scenarios is nearly impossible unless you're just willing to play it as a board game.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like, really, there's no plot hooks. There's no like, when the party asks about this, direct them this way so that they will stumble upon the next setting, you know, the next session. No, there's none of that. It's like, here, set it up this way. Put this map on the table. Put these tokens here. Put this here. Okay, now give everyone their pre-generated character sheet. Okay, you're ready to play. Really? Okay, great. Thanks. Awesome. Yeah. This is Hasbro being Hasbro, and God love them. Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, they're out for the money. I mean, I could talk at length about what's been going on in the Magic community.
Oh, I can imagine.
Since Hasbro came in, and they're just like, yeah, we're practically Fortnite now. So
it's, you know, there was that huge meme that I saw on Facebook, you know, where it was, I even forget who the picture was. It didn't matter, but it was like, you know, you have to send the droids to Narnia to pick up the airbender because we're ready to start our assault on the, you know, and it was just every mixed metaphor you could think of, but it's available in Magic the Gathering now.
Yeah.
And that's completely a playable meme. And it's like, really? Wow. Okay.
I mean, yeah, you know, just to sort of top it off, there's a Star Trek set coming out next year. So,
yep, I saw that.
Yeah. I was like, holy crap. Oh, yeah, it's going to be everything by the end of it. I mean, we've had SpongeBob cards. They have a freaking Furby secret lair coming out. Like, Hasbro is going hard on trying to get these crossover IPs. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, they just launched Final Fantasy, and we have Spider-Man that came out, and
last night,
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah. So it's just wild, you know. That said,
it's printing money.
It is.
That's the whole thing. You know, I was out at Eton Friday night, and they were doing the Spider-Man release, and just watching the amount of money change hands was mind-boggling. It's a motif and a model that Games Workshop would kill to have, because your entire ramp up to a new Magic set consists of getting some good artwork, which, you know, sourcing artwork isn't super easy, but they have a pool of artists to draw on.
Really good artists.
You know, and once you've secured the IP, at this point, it's just a matter of slapping down any text you really want onto the cards, because you don't really have to care. You know you're going to rotate it out shortly. So, okay, this is groundbreaking. This is really weird. Okay, it'll only be around for 6-8 months. No big deal. And then you just spit them out to the printer and watch the money roll in, and not just, oh, this was a cool set. It made, you know, a couple $100,000. No, we're talking billions each time.
I mean, Final Fantasy was the highest grossing set of any set in Magic's history. It sold so much that, like, I mean, we talked about the problem with, you know, the collector boxes, right? How much they were costing.
Yeah.
But even like normal booster boxes, which should retail around like 150, 160, we're selling for 200 plus.
Yeah.
Right. It's just crazy. If you put the right thing on a Magic card, you are going to make some. I imagine Avatar is going to be up there with Final Fantasy because of the huge following that show has.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun that they've expanded into some other things, like what they recently did a space set.
Yeah.
Right? And they introduced the concept of spacecraft.
Yep.
Which, when you crew it enough, it becomes a creature, right? So it was like, that's just like a softball pitch over to Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
It only makes sense that Star Trek would be
something
that could come out. But they do have in Magic's history, they used to release like 3 to 4 sets a year.
Yeah.
Before Universes Beyond, and it was always in Universe, right?
Yep.
That hasn't changed. Like, they are releasing essentially 7 sets a year at this point, and the number, it's like 3 to 4 in Universe, 3 to 4 Universe Beyond.
Sure.
Right? They're making the money. I mean, people are like, oh, there's no way I'm going to buy into this. I don't like Spider-Man, and then like all the cards get spoiled, and they're like, I spent a lot of money on Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's just, it's a phenomenal concept for printing money. And once you reach a certain critical mass where IPs are approaching you to become part of the universe rather than you going out and seeking them specifically, you're in the catbird seat. Yep. And to their credit, and I give this to the designers and not Hasbro at all, they have really tried to put fences around these different sets and by having all the different modes of play and all the different, know what you want to call them, arenas, if you will, just ways to play the game. You don't water down and destroy the core of your game. You actually enhance it with all this stuff.
Yep.
And by actually aggressively pursuing that rotation strategy, you make sure that any mistakes that are made are cleared up.
Yep.
And you don't have to sit there and say, oh, by the way, here's this errata card because we really screwed that card up.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do that now because you are going to simply rotate it out. And that problem that was a problem becomes not a problem. And you're not killing your competitive arena with all of this stuff.
Yeah, the rotation schedule's been a lot slower than I was used to in the past. I think right now, they're on like a 2 to 3 year rotation.
Really? Has it gone up like that?
Yeah, it's gone up significantly.
Oh, I thought they were still doing like that 8-month.
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and there's so many, like with the Universes Beyond, so many sets in Standard. It's insane. Like Standard is almost modern in terms of just how many sets it has. And so they have to regulate through the ban list. And they're kind of slow to do that because Hasbro likes money. Like there was a while there where there was this red deck in Standard that you just could not. Like it was the fastest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
You'd get like turn 3 kills. Like it's just insane. Just insane. And so they've been really slow to respond to things. That said, the most popular format in Magic will always be Commander.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And there's even a growing competitive scene for it. So it's like really, it doesn't matter so much because, I mean, there is a lot of Standard play and there are Standard tournaments, but the Commander crowd's going to be the one that has the staying power, right? They're going to be the ones who really decide the long-term value of a card, right?
Yep.
Because a card will spike, early on, like, oh my God, it's doing so well in Standard tournaments, gets banned. And if it doesn't have the support of Modern or Legacy can help too, right? But Commander, the price is going to tank.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's kind of nice to be self-correcting like that. And it's, I feel almost bad for the developers there because the external forces, i.e. Hasbro, that's imposed on you to make all these sets and to make all this stuff work. And knowing full well that you're going to do your best on this to put text on a card that makes sense and is somewhat balanced inside the set and outside the set. And then the minute it drops and the millions and millions of players get it and start twisting it into something you never foresaw.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, oh, God, what have we done?
But they don't do like day one bans or day one rewrites or day zero rewrites like, Leagues of Votann. What they'll do is they'll like let it get out in the market because of course they want to make the money off of it. Yeah. Right. And I know that they have a hand in the third party market. I know
they have to. Yes.
So one of those companies has to be like half invested by, Hasbro.
Sure.
But, they'll run up the costs on everything. And then when enough people complain about it, then like, okay, now we'll do a ban.
Yeah.
Right. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. But thing is, Commander's, again, the slowest one. There was a recent ban list, and it was the first time that the ban list had been updated in Commander in like years.
Wow.
Because that format's usually a lot slower. But since it's now in the hands of WotC, instead of just the, community base after so many people got upset about the ban list and, literally threatened the lives of the people on the commission and their family, they gave it over to WotC.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're going to be slow to do it. They did a recent unbanning, which was just cards that like they thought were no longer such a problem that they needed to stay on that list.
Yeah, because counters have come out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's moving at a good pace. But that was a major sidestep for us.
Yeah. Let's get back to new releases in the miniature world.
In the miniature world.
Yeah. So let's jump over to AMG, our favorite folks at Atomic Mass Games. Some really big news in the Star Wars world where the card sets, the Legion updates are now on the street. And that means that the era of 1.6 is over and new Legion is now here. This new logo stuff is here. It is now new Legion through and through. And that means the release of the 4 starter sets. Holy crap, what a value those starter sets are. I don't know how a company can do that. And, well, really, because they're competing against themselves, which someone should have told them is dumb. But I love it. So the starter sets are basically all the tokens, the dice, the measuring sticks, all the things that you need to play the game, plus the cards for setting up the battles and setting up the advantages and, setting up the game state. And then the cards for all the stuff that are in that box. And then you have the contents of the box. So, for instance, he reaches down and grabs a box. So the Rebel Alliance starter set, you get 22 Rebel Troopers, so that's 2 full units. 7 Rebel Commandos, that's a unit. Wookiee Warriors, that's a unit. And, of course, Luke Skywalker, go figure. Who knew Poster Boy would be on there?
Right.
And, yeah, that's a 600-point force. That's what you need to start playing. Oh, who knew? And, of course, then the Empire set.
As he reaches for the Empire set.
As I reach for the Empire set, which is Darth Vader, of course. And, hey, look, 22 Stormtroopers. That's 2 reinforced units, or technically 4 units. And then 14 Scout Troopers, which is 2 units of those. Plus, like I said, measuring everything you need to play the game is right in that box. So, and you download the rules with the different modes of play, especially now that they've added the Tour of Duty pack, which is amazing. Just think Warhammer Crusade or Path to Glory, except just a little bit different because the framework has changed. But basically, you're starting with your force and you're growing it and you're getting upgrades and you're getting wounds and you're getting scars and casualties and you're getting medals and you're getting better at what you do, and you take it through a bunch of scenarios and you grow your force into a full, oh my God, this is a battle force to be reckoned with.
Nice.
And then you have the Recon Edition, which is 600 points, which, holy crap, go figure. These boxes just hit right around that point.
Who would have thought?
The Separatist box, which is not out yet, but the Separatist box, keep in mind, these are $99. Okay. The box of Stormtroopers, which I believe is 11, is like around $50. And you're getting 4 of those in there. So this thing is at least a 50% discount plus the characters that you're getting. It's nuts what the discount level of these boxes is. And if you've ever thought about Star Wars Legion, AMG has it now. While the rules maintain the same flavor and you have the alternating activations with the order markers, and you do have, the bidding at the beginning of the game and the ability to nullify different cards. So just adds to what the scenario is going to be, and it makes it a lot of fun. But they have really cleaned up a lot of the wording, and they've, in my opinion, they've made it fun again. They've made it a lot of fun again. And I think a lot of the people that had been the Star Wars gatekeepers left when Fantasy Flight handed the game over to AMG because they were not convinced AMG was going to do a good job. Little did they know. These people are smarter than you. But yeah, a lot of the guys that were like, well, actually, you got the shade wrong on Darth Vader's cloak. I think it's actually 2 shades too bright. So maybe you shouldn't play that model. Oh, what do you think? How about, here's a knuckle sandwich. It's crazy how these box sets and these the new stuff in, and the models are so much better. They're hard plastic. Yes, you have to build them. They're a lot more intense in the building, but they're so much better looking. Oh my God. So yeah, if you ever wanted to get into Legion, now is the time. Do not buy anything with the old logo unless you absolutely have to have it for your list. And there's a couple of great websites out there that show you what is far enough down the roadmap that you should buy from the old stuff. And of course, all vehicles you can buy because the vehicles are still all hard plastic and stuff. But yeah, if you were ever thinking about playing Star Wars battle games, which is a really good, smart system, alternating activations. Again, it's one of those games where you move the unit leader and then set everyone up around him, so you're not measuring each little person's movement. No, you're not doing that. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good fun.
Sounds like. I'm going to have to take a closer look at it, see if I want to invest with those really cheap starter boxes.
Yeah, let me know if you do, because
it's insane value.
Yep.
But this is one of the ones where I'd have to do a lot of research on what I'd want to play, for sure. But hey, circling back around to Warcrow.
Yay!
Got some pretty cool stuff that came out.
Spicy.
So we got the war rig for the hegemony.
Oh
right?
My God.
It's a mech. If you ever want to play a mech in your fantasy tabletop game, now you can with the war rig.
It's big. It's really big. And it's not overbalanced. It's not overpowered. It's got a really interesting, put it this way, it is a huge model that costs 40 points.
Yeah.
So about the same as almost any other unit. It has really big, strong attacks. It has a 2/2 move. It has 2 morale. So you'll be taking this thing down. And it is very, very powerful. And yet it's not going to dominate the battlefield. It's not an Imperial Knight being put on the table. So I think it's a really great design motif. It's very, very slow. It's got a 2/2 move. So it literally is a objective grabber and stand or honor.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to use this offensively that much, but God, will it hold a point. And anything that comes up to take the point away is going to eat hot flaming death from the flamethrower.
Yeah, which scales based off the size of the unit that you're torching. So
yeah, it only rolls for its attack, the flamethrower attack. It only rolls like a red and a yellow, but then 1 orange for each model in the enemy unit.
Yes.
So yeah, come at me with your horde, bro.
Yeah. You don't have like a lot of hordy units.
No.
Right now. I'm sure a lot of that's going to change with Scions. I'm sure they'll be able to hordy a little bit more than others can.
Yeah.
But yeah, the design is so cool.
It's a beautiful looking model.
Yeah. Almost has like a samurai look to it.
Yeah. It really kind of, it goes back to you can tell their roots are Infinity.
Yeah.
And the designers, this is what they fall back on. This is what they know. But it's still beautiful. It fits with hegemony. It does not stand out. It is just gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to that. As much as I love the Scion, I'm telling you, the more I mess around with hegemony, the more fun they are.
Yeah.
They were so limited in the early parts of the game.
Oh yeah, no, that first box.
It was just terrible. But now that they're so expanded and their play style is so realized, you can have so much fun with them.
Yeah, they're a Swiss Army knife. They really are.
Yeah.
I think they specialize in not specializing.
Yeah.
Is probably the best way to think about it. But because of that, you have all the tools.
Yes.
Everything that you think you could need, but you do lack some focus. So you have to be very strategic in your list building.
Yeah. You're going to get very, very angry as the Scion dance around you and you can't nail them down. You're going to get upset when the Scions are just coming up and doing what they do best by getting all that tinge out there and messing up your ability to stand in one place and fight. Because they're not going to. And of course, the Northern tribes, it's going to be that same old, okay, you could be the anvil, but I am a hammer. And I am a really good hammer.
Really good hammer.
And so the play styles work, and honestly, it makes for fun games. It lends itself to good competitive games, and building a good all-comers list is an interesting exercise.
Yeah, particularly with hegemony. I mean, a lot of the less supported armies, I should say, don't have that flexibility right now. I mean, Scions does, but I mean, like I think it's gonna be changing coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be expanding quite a bit.
Because for them, you essentially have three different factions, and they're all like almost the same thing. I think Red Caps stand out as much more not hoardy. They just have a bunch of little units.
Yeah.
And they focus more on the regeneration because they don't deal with tinge. Like tinge isn't something they want to mess with.
Yeah.
But when you get into your necromancers or your demons,
oh boy,
you're a tinge bomb, and it's so fun. It's so fun. But these other guys, the protectors of the forest that came out too, for the Scion, are just more of that. I have insane shooting, and you cannot touch me.
Yeah, it's this great shooting. I believe they have a range of 18. Let me check the card again real quick.
18, and I think it's like a red and 3 orange.
Yep.
And then on double exclamation points, you cancel defenses. And then like after they shoot, they just displace 4. Like what is happening?
It's kind of crazy because they have a 4/3 move. What's his name? 2 wounds. Willpower is orange yellow, not great. Morale of 1, but on their bow attack, range 18, a red 3 orange. Okay, that's pretty hot. For melee, they have 3 orange and a yellow. They're not just gonna fold up if somebody attacks them.
They're not slouches.
And on defense, it's 2 blue and a black. That's not too bad.
No,
they might stand up, but the key is here they have sharp archers. When resolving a ranged attack, if you inflicted any damage, the target suffers 1 stress.
Yep.
So you're actually putting 2 stress on them.
Can't
hopefully
stress
they
that
lose. Get it? Now, then they have their signature ability, which is stalking from the forest. During your activation at the end of your ranged attack, if you are within 5 strides of a forest or an allied Nemeris unit, you may displace yourself 4.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. The chances of you not, if you have built a correct board and put forests out there because you have to, if you're playing Scion, it's like Sylvanet.
Yeah.
That should be automatic that you put 4 forests on the board. But the Nemeris units are your leaders. And so you're going to be just zipping all over the place. These guys are going to be like nail and jelly to a tree. Yeah. Once they get into combat with Northern tribes or Scions, they're going to get pasted into oblivion. They're going to become jelly. Yeah. But you have to nail that jelly to the tree first. And good luck with that.
Yeah, when it comes to these just insane movement capabilities of the Scion, I'm like, you need cavalry.
Yeah.
You just need cavalry to be able to handle them, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get to them. Like every single time, they're just going to be picking off guys in your unit and then floating away behind a tree.
Yeah. Plink, plink. Oh, and by the way, I am no longer in a range that you can do anything to me.
Yeah.
So, it's beautiful. And again, that's the kind of an army that if you love that fire and fade, that shoot, and every now and again, you're going to get up there and you're going to go, it's melee time. And you're going to go out there and just beat the crap out of maybe the 1 or 2 orcs left in a unit, or, take down that last 1 or 2 models in a unit. But very rarely do you want to be in melee with these guys.
Yep.
Because just about everything shoots except for the guys that are specifically done for melee, and there's 1 unit out of the range that does that. I can't wait to see their cavalry. God, I cannot wait. I hope it flies.
I'm sure they'll be riding deer or something.
Yeah.
But maybe a reindeer, and then they, paint the noses red and they fly.
And
right?
If you have applied red paint to the no, but just give me a flying mount for these guys. That would be the ultimate in. I got you. I got you. So they're great. They are really, really great.
I'm really excited though to see them expand on the other armies. Feudum looks real interesting.
Feudum looks. If you like magic armies, wow, are they going to be fun? Because just looking at what there is basically for them, seeing how they're going to expand on that, they are just going to be them and the Scions are going to be, wow, are they going to be a match against each other?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, those fights are going to be insane. Those are going to get crazy.
Yeah, because there's going to be tinge flying everywhere, and one group is actively trying to avoid it while the other troop is like, oh, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, I'll take some
Send
of that.
it over here, bro.
Yeah. And then we still have the dwarves. Like, we have nothing on dwarves right now.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, what are they going to do? What are dwarves going to do? Hopefully, it's some cool, like, magic mechanics type stuff. Like,
yeah.
Because of their ability to smith their armor, infuse it with magic, what's their war rig going to look like? I bet that's going to be sick, oh gosh, like there's so much that they're going to be bringing out for this game. I just get geeked about it every time.
It's so much fun to look at their roadmaps and to just imagine what they're going to do. They need a seriously defensive force, which they don't have. I think the dwarves are going to be keyed up on defending points.
Yeah.
And being able to just, have these units with morale that for running away purposes, you'll double or triple their morale.
Yeah.
But for, in-game purposes, it will be what's printed on the card, but they just won't run.
Yeah.
They'll just be immune to fleeing. So, and then, like you said, having that ability to shape armor and to shape things into what they need at the moment, they could be crazy. Oh,
yeah, like some type of like metal magic.
Yeah,
would be interesting. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. They're probably going to be like the hardest army to shift.
Yeah,
like they're just going to be tanks, and I think that'd be a good or a really cool thing to have in the game. Because there's not really an army that does that right now. Hegemony kind of like suggested that they might be that, in the first box, but their identity's changed,
right,
and rounded out. I'd be really interested to see what they're going to do with these dwarves, but I think they need to build out Feudum and Scions first and get them to that same level that they had Hegemony and Northern Tribes.
Yeah, the beauty of, Corvus Belli doing this is it's not going to be just here's the whole army range within a week or two, and if there's issues, we'll address those later. No, they put things out in a very measured.
Yep. Here's
the releases for Infinity this month. Here's the Worker releases for this month.
Yeah,
gives you a chance to catch up, a chance to it's the AMG methodology. I think AMG looked at them and said that's a really great way of doing things. Put out one or two things a month, or 4 things in a quarter. That way people can have a chance to get it built up, painted, play it, and understand how it fits into the ecosphere, and then move on to something else that expands that a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that's a really cool part of getting in Warcrow right now. Like as things are growing out, you have the opportunity to pace your purchases. Like you said, build, paint, play before the next one comes out. Yeah. Right. I think that pattern is so important because, like when you come into established games, any established tabletop war game, it is so hard because you get, sort of like the curse of choice, right? Yeah. And you're like, oh, I think this one's really cool. And you start playing and you're like, that's not really my style. Yeah. Well, this one's cool too. And like, oh, it's almost my style. And then you find out it's like your 17th army. Yeah. That you're like, finally, like, I'm finally where I want to be,
or you get into AoS and you decide, oh, I like the Ideneth Deepkin. I like the idea of water elves. And then everybody is like, no, don't play that, man. They're not they're not hot right now. Yeah. Don't do it. And then you're like, but that's, well, what should I play? Well, what's really hot right now is. And then you're just like, you go down this road that you probably didn't want to go down, and it kind of taints your acceptance, your fun level.
It does. We'll talk more about that in AoS.
Oh, yeah. And in Warcrow, there's 6 factions. There's probably one that reaches out to you, and they're going to double down on those play styles as we go. So, yeah, it's fun.
Sure is.
So, also from AMG, this one's a little niche, but if you are a animated fan of the Star Wars universe, the Waterworld is here. So, the Terror from Below squad pack has hit, and that is literally Riff Tamson brings the planet of Mon Cala into Clone Wars. He's got his Corran Chieftain with him, and then he's got the 2 Aqua Droids. So all those great scenes from the animated, here they come. And you know what? He's good. He's really good. People are expecting him to get nerfed. Probably sooner than later, because they're saying he just might be the first really OP primary out there.
Wow.
And yeah, and I don't see it. I think he is countered by a lot of the powerful lists right now, and he was designed to impact the meta. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you'll see a nerf on him anytime soon. But yeah, he looks like a lot of fun to play. Not sure I love the Aqua Droids, but it's a neat little pack to get, and I'm sorry, but they're the coolest looking droids. They are the coolest looking droids. B1s, B2s, yeah, they have that movie tie-in. Yeah, whatever. Droidicas, yeah, they're fun. But no, these Aqua Droids are cool.
Oh, that's great.
Now we're going to move on to, we were talking about, geez, what are we going to do for the next show? And then Parabellum dropped the Conquest changes. And holy crap, did they drop some changes. Yeah. And again, in pure Parabellum style, 35-page document of changes, all of which amount to, the game's a little different.
Just a little different.
I mean, yes, the Dwegum have changed 100%. They have a whole new flavor now, and it's really kind of cool. Our next show will be going over the Conquest changes. As far as the base game goes, a lot of clarification. The priority role has gone back to the way it used to be. So they're kind of trying to counter that MSU sort of style that everybody's been getting into lately. Yeah. They're going back to the old initiative. We'll cover all of this next time. The Dweg got a huge glow up. One of the big changes I saw was for 100 Kingdoms, Ash and Dawn are now reinforceable again. God. So they got rid of the restriction because, like they said, the game state has changed enough to where, I loved in the designer notes, they were like, we noticed that at some events, there were more Ash and Dawn than there were people. I was like, wow. Okay, interesting. But yeah, now they're pricey. So the unit itself is 260 points, and to add another stand is another 90 points. So it's not
that's fair.
Yeah, you're not going to see those the days when, you had one side was just 2 units of full up 12 Ash and Dawn, and that was the end of the game. So, and since they have some pretty hard counters now, they said, okay, we can let them be reinforced again. So, but lots and lots of little changes, some procedural changes to bring the game, to keep the game fun and interesting for everyone. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the next episode. We will go in depth on a full breakdown of the updates for Conquest. Moonstone got a couple new releases here. We got a little, was it the faculty is the 3 gnomes?
Yes.
Right? And oh my God, these sculpts. Every single time they drop a new sculpt, they just look amazing. Yeah. Like they took so much time and care to ensure it's still that fun, flighty, like fairy tale type of sculpt and design, right?
Yep.
You also have Matilda, who's, what was she writing?
She is so beast mode. Hang on one second. What is she writing? Oh, where are you? Where are you, sweetie?
See if I still have it on my phone.
It's right here. I'm bringing it up. Okay, so she is writing. I don't know what that critter is. It looks like a 2-legged mouse or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's very Commonwealth. She's very human. She has a very blunderbuss gun, and she is beast mode. She is totally...
Her shotgun is just a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny because I love how they built in the mechanic that it is a blunderbuss. She actually needs to spend time to reload it. It's not just something where every single turn it just magically is just reloaded.
No,
but that thing does work.
Yes, and she moves and she does stuff. She's really good. Now the faculty is a very interesting group because while they can exist as individual models, where they truly shine is when all 3 of them are together. Now, in a 5 or 6 man list, that's a bulk of your force.
Yep.
But the way they synergize off of each other is crazy. So it's one of the first box sets that they've put out, really, that, I mean, it was kind of that way with the witches, where the witches each buff each other.
Yeah.
But if you don't bring all of them, you're not like, well, this one's not great without her two sisters. It's not that way. Whereas the faculty is one of those deals where they truly shine when they're together. But again, you have to build into that play. You have to build into what they're going to do. So obviously, because you're looking at gnome scholars, you can imagine what they're going to do, but you're going to need to put some beef with them. You're going to have to bring in a Matilda, an Angerbotha, or something to, give them some pop, or even, perhaps a long range shooter, something. You're going to have to be very considered with your list building with those guys.
I will say though, I was just looking through their cards. The guy Flinders Memphis, he's got a 14-inch rifle.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But the catastrophe on that is insane. Takes 4 wounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Ow. But yeah, no, like how they all like work together is super cool. And if you like look at, their activated abilities, it's interesting that each one focuses on a different color.
Yes.
Right? And that's part of the synergy there. And these designs are just too much. Flinders, Memphis, Old Polly, and Professor Boffinsworth. Like, yep. Oh, it's just so fairy tale. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
I do. I just, if it comes out for Moonstone, you just know it's off the hook good. It's fun, and it's going to be themey, and it's not going to go off the hook much, I think. Oh, no, I did want to cover a couple of GW releases. The Tomb World box came out. Mm-hmm. That terrain is freaking crazy.
Right?
So I haven't had a chance to build it yet, but oh my God, talk about detail on that terrain. And unlike the other terrain sets, for Kill Team that were basically modular wall-based systems, this stuff actually fits together well and comes apart well. It's not like the, what was that, with the boarding action set? I can't remember the name of the set.
Oh gosh. That one was a pain in the butt to put together.
Yeah, it was harder than it needed to be to put together. But I mean, once it was together, it stayed. So, and this one is the same way. And I love how they have the end caps for the walls. Mm-hmm. So if you do have a section where you stick a wall out of a join, there's a little section that you can just snap onto it that closes it off and makes it look so much better on the table.
Yeah.
Than just a violent end to the wall. So
really intelligent design for that one.
Yeah, the paint jobs that I've seen some people do on these are just, oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, it's the first time it hasn't just been steel wall.
Yeah.
With computer, or one of the skulls. Like it's just
the alcoves full of skulls.
No, it's actual Necron terrain.
Yeah.
It's just so pretty. It's so pretty.
And what's kind of cool and annoying at the same time, but a lot of the walls, they're crumbling the old stone away to reveal the Necron underneath. So you have a lot of areas where there's stone work all through the whole section of the wall, and underneath it is the Necron bits. So painting it, a couple of guys have said how it's awesome when it's done, but it's a pain in the butt because you can't just spray it.
Yeah.
And it's one color, and okay, it's the color of my walls. Now I overbrush it and we're done. Now you have to actually put a bunch of work into this. So when it's done, it looks so good. I'm really looking forward to that one too. And that last point we'll bring up in After Dark.
Yeah, that's going to be a rant for you, isn't it?
Yep. Yep, it is.
Well, that is not everything that's come out in the world, but
the stuff that we're intimately familiar with.
Pretty good amount, right? So next part, we'll be moving into hobby, any type of battle reports we did, and then into the wonderful reminiscence of our AoS journeys.
Yay. All right, we'll be right back.
You see, for my part, I look upon a promise as binding.
Promise was never occurred to me. I command the kingship, not a private yacht.
We do not have time for your damned hobby, sir.
All right, it's time to get the hobby on, which for me, I don't know, was kind of weird. But you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So let's just say all of Shatterpoint. Everything.
Every single thing.
I had a bin the size of a normal, Rubbermaid big bin, where I had taken all my Shatterpoint boxes, pulled them out of the boxes, put them all into plastic bags because they're way easier to store that way. And I realized that when Perry got real interested in playing Shatterpoint,
yeah,
that the only thing I really had was the core box. And yeah, it was all painted up and all that stuff, but it's kind of limiting.
Yeah.
So the other thing is Shatterpoint boxes are really easy to build when you're perhaps not at your hobby station. So I just started bringing bags with me and building them. And so I got all of my Shatterpoint built. I have every set now built.
Holy cow.
So, yeah, I can play with anything. They're all mostly primed too. So I did paint up which is weird, the Kalani and the and the B2s. So that's built up and painted. And then I had to do the Out of Hiding, the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I had to do that because that's so much fun. So Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are done, but I have to really work on getting the paints done now. So in that regard, I did try the AK speed paints. I think they call them quick. They're quick line.
Yeah.
I tried them and I was actually kind of intrigued by, they don't do anything that speed paint or contrast don't do. One thing I do like that they put right on the label is whether it's light, medium, or heavy.
Yeah.
Which is something GW really needs to look at and go, yeah, we need to do that. And it just basically tells you what the coverage is like. So if it's, Black Templar, which is a really nice black that acts like a contrast, it pulls back and it has highlights. Whereas Black Legion is just black and it doesn't pull back. There's no highlights. It's really just a black thin paint, really. If they would have, labeled those as either light or medium and heavy, you would know what you were getting into when you opened up the pot. That's what AK does. It's right there on the label. Is this light, medium, or heavy pigment? So that you know kind of what it's going to do on the model.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So I don't find them any better or worse than, contrast or speed paint. All of them are, in my opinion, really, really good at what they do. Don't ask them to do other things. Do what they do. And for me, last but not least, I picked up an Algo Laser, their new Pixie Mini. It's only got like a 100 by 100 bed, which is really, really small, 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter or 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter. It's a small bed, but it's enough to do some really fun, cool things. So I made some keychains for a friend of ours who had a birthday, and I got a picture of an Akita and engraved it on one side and put Akita Mom on the other side. And
that's awesome.
That. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to start making us some business cards once I get a design. I've got these nice gold business cards. I'll just start zapping those out. I've already made, like the front where it's like Albuquerque Narrative Gamers and Josh Alt and me. And then on the back, I was going to put, website addresses and all that stuff and maybe a QR code to get you there quicker. But yeah, I'll make those.
That's slick.
Soon.
That's slick.
Yeah, but it's really kind of neat. I mean, it's a 10-watt laser, so we're not talking about, oh my God, I'm going to be able to cut through metal. And no, but it'll cut through small, little acrylic. It'll cut through, I think it says like a centimeter worth of wood, half of that in acrylic. Won't cut metal. I wouldn't ask it to, but it'll etch metal. So, it's just fun to play with, and it's something that I haven't really gotten into before that much. So I really wanted to try it. So I did, and it's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fun little thing to try for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
You betcha. So what you got on the hobby desk?
So hobby-wise, again, mostly focused on Magic, because that's been my one true love. But
it's all good.
I worked on a Timna Halana deck. For those who don't know, that is a black, white, green deck, because Timna and Halana are partners. Timna is probably the best commander that's ever existed.
Wow.
Particularly in competitive circles. So Timna, if you don't know, she costs 1 generic, 1 black, and 1 white. She is a 2/2 with lifelink, and her static ability is at the beginning of your second main phase. If you dealt damage to an opponent, you may draw a card for each opponent that you dealt combat damage to, and you lose a life for each card that you draw, right? So essentially, if you're able to hit 3 opponents, you draw 3 cards, lose 3 life, right? Which is an amazing rate when it comes to commander games, right? Halana is an interesting one, and I don't know if I'm going to stick with her or go to one of the Kodamas, but Halana reads that whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 generic, and then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature. The whole point of this is to set up what we call a Protean Hulk line of play. Protean Hulk. Wow. It's a 7 mana card. So usually you try and cheat it by like dumping it in the graveyard and reanimating it, right? But it reads that when Protean Hulk is when it dies and goes to the graveyard, you can search your deck for any number of permanents with a total converted mana cost of 6 or less, right?
Wow.
Not permanents, creatures.
Yeah.
Creatures specifically. So what you do then is, and this is so funny because, you know, the Hobbit does exist in Magic. You search up Samwise Gamgee. You search up what we call it Grand Abolisher. Grand Abolisher, as soon as it's in play and it's your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities, right? So it just locks down the turn, right? Then you also get what's called Cauldron Familiar. It's a little kitty cat that whenever it dies, it does 1 damage to an opponent and you gain 1 life, right? But then you can sacrifice a food.
God, food again.
to return the kitty to the battlefield, right? And then you get like Viscera Seer, which allows you to sacrifice a creature, right? And Samwise, what he reads is that whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, create a food token.
Oh, Jesus.
So you just get this infinite loop with the kitty, right?
Yeah, just, oh my God.
Meow.
Food,
right?
food. Oh, boy.
And so that's that deck, right? Now, the next one I'm working on, I haven't gotten all the cards for it yet, but, you know, we just talked about the Spider-Man set being released. Yeah. And Gwenom looks very interesting to me. So she is 3 colorless and 2 black. So if you use a commander, you're in mono black. She's got Lifelink and Death Touch. She's a 4/4, so she's got a good body on her, right? And then her ability reads that when she attacks for the rest of the turn, you may cast cards from the top of your library. And you can look at your library anytime, the top of the library anytime. But instead of paying mana, you pay life.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's very similar to another card called Bolas' Citadel, which pretty much does the same thing. Plus it has you can make your opponents lose 10 life if you sacrifice 10 permanents or something.
Jeez.
But the important part is that, you know, you're able to set up these combo wins from the top of your deck. So you almost have access to your whole deck, but it's just 1 card at a time.
Yeah.
And so there are different lines of play, like with so Sensei's Dividing Top is a artifact. It's 1 colorless, 1 generic mana to cast. It has 1 ability where we call it Spinning the Top, where you pay 1 mana and you look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order.
Ooh.
And then you can tap the Sensei's Dividing Top to draw a card from the top. You know, so draw a card and then put the Dividing Top back on top of the library.
Oh, shit.
So then, you know, if you've got Gwenom, she's attacked, it only costs 1 life to cast Sensei's Dividing Top. Now there is and this is a well-known combo with Bolas' Citadel, right? But you also have Aether Flux Reservoir. So whenever you cast a spell, you gain life equal to the number of spells you cast this turn, and you put that many counters on Aether Flux Reservoir.
Oh, boy.
Right? So essentially, when you have that and Sensei's Dividing Top that you can cast from the top of your library, right? You could sit there and just...
You cycle it for free.
Yeah, and you gain more life as you go. The thing is, you don't put counters on it, sorry, but you gain life. And then Aether Flux Reservoir says you can spend 50 life to do 50 damage to an opponent.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's hilarious, right? But you can sit there and just like, all right, I'm going to draw my entire deck, and then I'm going to shoot you all with my laser.
That's a game ender.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then with this one, there's this card I've been wanting to play forever called Tendrils of Agony. It used to be a major player back in like Legacy. And that one is 2 and 2 black. Target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. But it has Storm. So for every spell you cast before it, you copy it, right? So if you have this Aether Flux Reservoir combo with your Sensei's Dividing Top and you want to like win fancier, you could just keep doing this over and over and over again and then just storm off with Tendrils of Agony.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the Gwenom deck I'm working on. There are a lot of people who are brewing on it right now, trying to figure it out. And it's just so fun. Like, it's just a fun deck where you actually get to play an awesome character from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Other than that, I actually did painting last night.
Yes.
I got a wild hair and went and decided to paint one of the fairies.
Nice.
Remember I said I had like analysis paralysis?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For the longest time. I started playing Silent Hill F, and, just something about the aesthetic caught me, right? And I was like, oh, can I do it this way? I think I can.
Yes,
and
yes,
so, is the first one I think came out pretty well.
Yeah.
I still, stick with, the colors I like, but I wanted to like draw it down, make it dingy,
Yeah.
Almost rusted,
Yeah.
right? But still have like beautiful grass at the bottom,
Sure.
So I found the theme I'm going with, for sure. I really enjoyed painting it like that.
Looks really nice. I
Thank
like
you.
it.
Thank you. Yeah, so I actually did hobby.
Nice.
Now, in terms of games played, I played a lot of Magic,
Well, that's,
but
those are games played.
Nothing like Bill did.
Remember, we're all gamers here. So Magic counts.
Magic does count. On all the video games count too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it better.
All right. But Bill, you got some Star Wars in, huh?
I did. It's been really, I'd never planned to like all of a sudden go full bore into Star Wars, but it was, one of those deals where we wanted to try out Legion to see if the changes were enough to make the game, fun and interesting. And yeah, they didn't change so much that it was hard to pick back up, but there's enough changes that get rid of some of the silliness that used to be there.
Yeah.
And still, I think the competitive high-end play is going to still be competitive high-end play, but the majority of the casual game stuff is just back to, this is just fun. So we played a refresher game, which I labeled the results as rolling on the floor laughing, because that's what we were doing. We weren't keeping score. We were just farting around. And, at one point he moved a unit of Wookiee warriors right into the open, just absolutely into the open, and took, I forgot how he did it, but he ended up with 2 dodge tokens, which I immediately stripped and then just obliterated the unit with one group of fire from. He was like, wow, that was I did not realize how easy it was going to be to strip those dodges. And I'm like, why don't we just rewind it? You put him back and make a different move, because that was just dumb. And neither one of us realized how bad a move it was, but it turns out that running a whole bunch of Wookiees into the open means they die.
Yeah.
Just die. And of course, it was one of those deals where he picked up his defense dice and rolled, I think he rolled no paint at all. So just blanks. And I rolled a pretty average, I had hits and I had crits. And so it was just like, yeah, you take 7. Okay, fine. See ya. All right. So yeah, that was sad. But then we broke down and we played the Shatterpoint games that we had, on tap. We had a couple of themed games. I have wanted to get Jyn out there, Jyn Erso, because the set came out, and I said that the minute that set came out, that's the list I was going to play. So the first game that we played, I wanted to play with painted models because we were at the store. And so I played the core set. That was sort of a, holy crap, these guys are good. And I kind of won that game 2 struggles to nothing. That one was, and it was fast.
Wow.
The first struggle really just played into my hands because the active points were pretty much either on my side or available to me on turn 1. And I was going second, so I was able to score first. And I think I scored out for 2 straight turns. So basically 4 points each turn. And it was really hard for him to come back with. And then when we flipped the next struggle, the choices were so bad for him, it was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was like, if I didn't own the point, I had someone within range of striking down whoever was on the point.
Oh, goodness.
So he had no good option to take. And so, yeah, that one was pretty quick. But then I played my Jyn Cassian list, which it's so creative. It's so inventive. No one's ever thought of this before. I played the 2 box sets. And, but yeah, it turns out Jyn and Cassian are really, really good. I understand that Cassian is way better with other characters, but Jyn has this ability where when you run out of force, you can use momentum cubes to pay for your abilities. So you're literally never not able to use your stuff.
Crazy. And
with Bodhi and Blaze and Turret, yeah, you can do some pretty amazing things. So in the first game, it was just domination. They just were all over the board, making these extra 5-die attacks for free. Oh, it was nuts. I was just devastatingly bad and just crushed him. And then the second game, he learned how to play around what I was doing. And so he won that one. But that was 2-1, 2 struggles to 1. And we went obviously 1 and then 1. And that last struggle came down to, I would say we were probably 8 activations in before he won that one. It was tight.
Wow.
It was a tight game, and it was just bing, 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 bing. We were just, each turn we were taking 1 or 2 points from each other and just swinging the numbers back and forth. We were hardly getting any momentum because we weren't killing anything. We weren't wounding anything. So the stuff that could be wounded was already gone. And yeah, it was a fun game. That one was a head scratcher. And yeah, he ended up taking it. So that was fun. We had a great afternoon of playing and drinking. Playing and engaging in adult entertainment activities. Wow, that sounded even worse. Oh, gross. All right, we were drinking. So yeah. So what did you have on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, played Magic. Like I said, I started getting to Silent Hill F. Having an issue where my PS5's overheating, so I need to
nuts.
Take her apart and clean it out. So that's kind of stunted my playing that game so much, and then I don't know. I'm kind of struggling not to buy the Hellsmiths.
Man, I tell you what.
Yeah. Like their design is so freaking cool. But I'm more interested in like the War Machine side of it. Now, I can see like why it might be beneficial to, well, I know the Spearhead comes in the box that was just released.
Army box, yeah.
But like, I'd rather just do War Machines. So like, do I just wait, until I can just collect a whole bunch of robots?
It almost makes sense to do that because, if you buy in now and you get tired of it, what's the point? What's the fun?
Yeah.
So,
and plus they haven't even released the big boss on his whatever flying mount. So you have the named one and you have the unnamed one. I think there'd be a super fun list if we can find out what the points actually are. Yeah. Because I don't think the points were released yet.
I don't think so.
But if you can run the big guy and then 3 of the unnamed, right? And just have this Monster Mash list where it's supported by like their war machines that have like, the punchers or the flamethrowers, as well as like their catapults.
Yeah.
Like that's the realm I want to play in. I would love to play it as an elite army.
Yeah.
And of course you're going to have, a whole bunch of, oh my God, I can't remember what their version of Grot is, but they're little goblin guys to send out and just hold objectives.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they just look so cool. The Spearhead is probably my favorite way to play the game, so maybe I jump in to get the Spearhead for it. That might make some sense. But they just really did a great design, and all this right before the 10-year anniversary.
Go figure. Yeah.
Right? They're like, you know what, guys?
It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, just making everybody wait. But gosh, it goes back to that. What do we do now? What do we nail them for now? Because Plastic Sisters are out. Chaos Dwarves are out. What do we yell at them for now? There's nothing left.
Retiring Beasts of Chaos when I have an entire AoS army painted.
Well, they're fine in Old World.
Oh, it's all right. I'm just going to go spray them with some lighter fluid and burn them on you while recording on YouTube.
What a great segue into our lore segment.
Exactly. AoS 10
years
old.
Wow. It's just absolutely nuts that to me, it feels like the game's been around forever.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it feels like it's only a couple years old.
Right?
There's just it's so fresh and different. And, we'll get into some of the issues that it has later. But when you talk about the creativity that they're willing to show in the AoS framework, where 40K, we're in this spot of everything that comes out kind of looks like everything else.
Yep.
If it's an Eldar it kind of harkens to some of the nostalgia, but also they're very similar across the board.
Yeah.
And of course, now that we have 95 lieutenants with X sword and X armor, it's okay. Yeah, great. Another lieutenant. Yay. But in the AoS world, when they came out with the Hellsmiths, it was like, this doesn't look like anything else out there. And they're, of course, drawing back on those old world days. Why would you criticize them for going with what works and what people want? No, that's not a criticism. That's actually a good job, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that every single army in AoS has a unique identity.
Yeah.
In presentation, like if you look at him, it's not just another elf.
No.
Because if you put Idnet Deepkin up next to the Daughters of Cain,
yeah, they
are manifestly different.
Yeah.
They are just happen to be skinny with pointy ears, but that's where the comparisons stop.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell who's playing what army. I mean, if you know the game and you know the history, you can tell who's playing against by just looking at the table real quick. And you can't say that with every game. So it's just, oh man, identity is such a, and we'll talk about that when we get to the weird stuff about the game, but you wanted to do a little bios about how we got into it.
Yeah.
So go ahead and lead off.
So I think I was in law school.
Oh.
Or shortly after I finished law school when the shop opened up in Rio Rancho, right? And the first thing I bought was the Disciples of Tzeentch Battle Force.
Oh, God.
That had come out.
Oh, God.
It came out with, and then also oh my goodness, what's the wizard dude with like the 3 arms? The Changeling.
The
Changeling.
Yeah.
I did eventually get a Kairos Fate Weaver.
Yeah.
But I just did that one as a standard Keeper of Secrets.
Yeah.
Right. Is it Keeper of Secrets?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he is.
Isn't that Slanesh?
Uh-oh. Oh, we're showing our...
See, we've also aged in 10 years.
Yes.
And, that does have an effect on memory.
The memory has gone with it.
Lord of Change.
Lord of Change. Thank you. Okay, good job. Good job.
Lord of Change. But yeah, that one had 6 Skyfires in it.
Oh, yes. Oh, God.
And I had no idea what was going on with the game. I did an intro game. That was cool. But I get this box set, right? And I'm building it all, and it's super fun. And, I had never painted a miniature in my life, So I took on this huge responsibility right out the gate, right?
Of course.
But it was fun and made me realize I do not like all the twisty pokey parts of chaos. Because sometimes they are just too much. But unbeknownst to me, because at the time, we're talking, God, how long ago was this? 8 years ago,
8
I think.
8 years ago,
when I got into it,
yep.
Right? Them Skyfires were the hotness.
God. Talk about broken.
Right? I mean, they're the first battle tome I got for Disciples of Tzeentch was the it wasn't hardback, right?
Oh,
it was the one that was kind of got that like vinyl cover, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And the indices were still around. Like the index still had to be around for each Grand Alliance.
Yep.
Because some armies didn't have books. So I came in, that was probably 1-ish year before 2.0.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because the core set at that time was Stormcast and Khorne, right?
Oh yeah.
God, but the Blades of Khorne models are just out of this world good.
Yeah.
They are just so cool. But yeah, that's how I got into it. And just grew from there into, I don't know why, but I always like playing horde armies, which is why I'm trying to go at the Hellsmiths from a different direction, Let me do something elite for once instead of let me just paint 80 plus models, right? I've done that too many times.
It gets old after a while. Yeah,
it does. And there are people who just went straight into the elite armies and they're like, have no concept of what it was to sit there and paint all those tiny little details on how many ghouls have I painted?
Enough? Yeah, no.
Close to 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That can wear you down.
And this was before contrast, before speed paints. And that's another thing that's really evolved, in the 10 years AoS has been out, is the quality of paints.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
It's, Horde armies, a bunch of Skaven now are reasonable to think about doing.
Yeah.
Because of contrast or speed paints, whatever your flavor is. Incidentally, I also tried those speed paint markers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are they great?
For some things, yes. For other things, it's a gory mess because the control that you have isn't, to get into the fine details and stuff. It's not a great thing because you're painting everything around it too.
Yeah.
So, but they are really cool. I've got some of the AK paint pens too, which are, again, don't do detail work with them, but for like covering a big old cloak or something, oh God, they're brilliant. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump in.
Yeah, but I'm using like Citadel.
Yeah.
Just little pots. I bought I think a primer and I think maybe 7 paints.
Yeah.
That first time, and just, it was fun. And then, broke a model for the first time and had to fix it. And it was just wild. It was just a wild time. The thing that, I never thought that one night would turn into where we are right now talking about it. And just seeing over the years, all the new sculpts coming out, right? They've been trying to revamp all the lines, up until, the release of 4.0, clan rats were still the same clan rats from Old World.
From the Old World, yeah. It's
wild. It's wild. And the thing that we still have some of those sculpts lingering around is things that you still play in AoS proper.
Yep.
Which, I guess in the long run was probably good for GW, considering they brought, Old World back.
Yeah.
But man, that was my start. Was probably a monumental task in taking on a whole Disciples of Tzeentch battle force.
Well, as far as getting started, I remember distinctly when the announcement was made that the end times was here, and that roadmap of here's going to be these 5 books that are going to lead up to the end of the Old World and the end of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. And the amount of vitriol and the amount of anger that was just oozing through the room. And this was at the old Active Imagination. So the game room, was in the back there. And, as the different end times books would come out and it was building to the finale, and seeing how the rules morphed into this, we don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. It does not matter. Balance is no longer anything. Just play. And so the tables that were created and the game setups that were done were just off the hook. And it was nuts. But when that final day hit, when that final book, and it was over, and that realization hit everybody, it was absolute chaos. And the anger and, I hate to say it, but the sadness that a lot of those people felt, that the game that they had grown up with and they loved more than anything else was gone. It was history. And I kept thinking to myself, there's nothing in this world that is telling you can no longer play this game. You can play it until you fucking die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just trying to explain that to, but it won't be supported. But it's here right now, and it's in its end state. You can play it forever. And trust me, even at that point, people like the Ninth Age, they were already putting out rule sets. They were already putting out their version of it. Kings of War was just coming out to get people through, to eat that marketplace. And of course, a couple of months later when they announced Age of Sigmar, and the entire Warhammer Fantasy community, a large portion of it just lost their minds. And they were just like, no, that is not something I will ever do. And that's when you started to see the burning of the armies. And,
oh my God.
I'm hoping against hope that guy that posted that video of the elf army, I really hope that was tongue in cheek and that was not truly a full up Warhammer Fantasy army that he just burned because, I mean, the stupidity of it, the abject stupidity of buying models from a company and then burning them because that company made you sad is like, why didn't you just throw the money away? Just burn the money. Just take out your wallet and burn it. It's the same thing, except you put a lot of effort into it. You're an idiot. But seeing that level of vitriol made me sad.
Yeah.
And so when the Age of Sigmar box was announced and I pre-ordered it, and I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but it was overwhelming and underwhelming at the exact same time because what was in that box was amazing. Uh-huh. It was so cool. And the 4-page rules were so bad. Oh my God. They allowed you to play the game. Yes, it was perfectly playable game. And no points and no ability to balance a game against someone else. And literally almost no way to even play the contents of the box fairly. Oh, it was so bad. And playing in that first tournament, which was the Trials of Ogier, and the rules for that tournament were bring any 30 models you want. So needless to say, all the Warhammer Fantasy guys brought 30 models from the old fantasy armies that were just bazonkers in the index.
Yeah.
And I rocked up with my 30 Stormcast. I mean, in the first game, I lasted the better part of one turn. In the second game, I lasted into the second turn, but yeah, that didn't happen. And then in the third game, finally, I got to play against Ryan Taylor from up in Colorado. And we actually had, I wouldn't say it was a game because he was playing his chaos stuff and just wiping me off the table, but he did it more slowly to be nice. The nice part was we were both smokers, so we were heading out every few minutes to have a cigarette. Yeah, it was, but that whole first turn, I'm surprised they stayed with the game after that first tournament. It was so bad. And then we went through those years, a couple of good solid years of, you had Azir comp, and I forgot what the other big comp system was. I think it settled on Azir comp. And that was the comp that the guys were using over in England, where they assigned points and they assigned sort of build limits and all that stuff. And they made the game playable at an organized level. And then to finally watch GW come along and say, oh, so you guys do want to play competitively, huh? You're just like, no, really. Did you forget what Warhammer Fantasy was all about? I don't know. All right. I just thought that was such a comical. They really wanted to go in that direction of, no, this is not a competitive game. We're not going to go down that road. 40K is for competitive. This is for just getting together and playing some fun games. But even if you want to make a fun game, you have to have standards to work against.
Yep.
I have to know that this many Skaven equals this many Stormcast. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun. If we take 30 Stormcast and 30 Skaven, chances are it's not going to be fun for the Skaven player. But now if it's 90 Skaven, now maybe we can actually play a game and have some fun.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they lost sight of that, or more specifically, honestly, said that's not how we want to structure this game. And then luckily 2.0 came out and they said, okay, you know what? Let's do it this way.
And the history of the narrative side of it. Well, first off, when it was Indices and Chaos, right? Like, it almost was purely narrative until they imposed structure on it. But the old Path to Glory system, which I think it traversed all the way through 1.0 and 2.0.
Yeah.
And there was a change version in 3.0. But how it used to be is that you do like escalation leagues, essentially, where you get assigned a particular point value and you comprise your army from there, And I remember the first one I did was with Gloomspite Gitz.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
After Gitz got their first book. Because, they dropped that Mangler Squig, and I was like, oh, this thing is so cool. And it was back then when they truly had random movement.
Oh, yes.
Like, it wasn't
2d6
D6 plus this. No, it was 3d6.
Yes, 3d6.
Have fun for a Mangler Squig, and 2d6 for the hoppers.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was 3d6 for the hoppers too, but the knight version was 2d6. That's right. And so I started out with the Loon Boss on Mangler Squig as my starting boss, because you would get your general, and then you can get up to the point limit, which we usually did 500. But after that, as you earned points, you could just buy and add any unit that you wanted. It was pure chaos in that sense. By like the end of that escalation league, I had my Loon Boss on Mangler Squig. I had another Mangler Squig. I had, I think, 80 Grots.
Oh, Jesus.
All of them melee suited with the appropriate amount of nets in each one.
Of course.
Then 5 Squig Hoppers, 10 of the Lancers, the Loon Boss on the case. It was just a massive army.
Yeah.
Right? Because I won games.
Yeah.
and you got a free command trait. Not command trait. What did they call it back then? Was it a command trait?
God, yeah, they were command traits, weren't they? Oh, no.
Yeah, I think they were command traits. And then relic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so my Mangler Squig had, and he was -1 to hit, but had the ability that whenever he attacked, right, he could immediately move away from combat.
Right. I remember that.
So I would charge him with the Mangler Squig, which back then, like, did insane damage. Like, that thing was brutal for 320 points. And just, like, go in, shred, and peace out. It was just so much fun. And the finale of that was a 4-player free-for-all battle royale.
Oh, God.
And it was me, Kai, Eric, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I hadn't seen him for years. But it was Sylvaneth, Nurgle, Skaven, and Gitz.
Oh, my God.
And I think I ended up winning it. But we finished the game at like 12:30 a.m. or something.
Oh my God.
It was way past closing time. It was just insanity, right? But that's how the narrative used to be.
Yes.
And then Bill and I have been, Guy Reed's book about the whole process they did in 3.0 where it's like, well, here's your roster and here's your After Effects and you get these territories and so on and so forth. And now we're in the current iteration, which is pretty good, though, with the recent Battle Scroll update. They're like, here's some additional bookkeeping you need to do.
Yeah.
Where you have to literally put every possible unit that could attach to that leader on your roster. Like, you just have to list them. We're like, why, though?
Come on.
Why do we have to do that?
It's so stupid.
And, oh, my God, what was the campaign with the map?
Oh, Firestorm?
Firestorm.
Yeah, Firestorm.
Yeah, that was really cool,
That
too.
was super cool. And I did not like Firestorm when it first came out, and boy, was I dumb, because it was really good. It's such a good system for jumping around and playing games.
Yeah.
Just, it might lack a little in the realism department, but for playing games and having a reason to play a game, that was such a great system. So good. They need to redo something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And just, with today's thoughts and methodologies and manufacturing methods, they could just do it so fun. But yeah, it's something we need to hope that they do.
I mean, nowadays, with how easy it is for developers to push apps, right?
Oh, yeah.
A Firestorm equivalent
App.
that has a corresponding app so you could track your campaign with the other players. It's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to be the way you are, GW, paywall it.
Yeah.
Essentially, you have to buy the box to get access to the app.
Or, either that or just put it behind the old Warhammer Plus paywall, which they love.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, that system was so great, for narrative. And I think that throughout the development from 1.0 to where we are now in 4.0, I still think the Firestorm concept still applies really well.
Oh, yeah.
From each iteration of Path to Glory, it has provided a really solid basis for a campaign.
Sure.
So if they really work that end of the product, particularly because there's quite a few people who like narrative in AoS, I think it would sell like hotcakes.
It would. So kind of want to branch out now into some of the craziest situations that have ever come up in the game. And this is not to criticize or to say that these particular developers were dumb or anything. It was just, these were bad choices made for all the right reasons, because they really thought this was going to work well. And then, I say this so many times with so many games. Number one, balance is nebulous. Balance is non-existent. Don't demand it. But the other thing too is these designers design things with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
It's only when it gets out into the wild that it gets twisted into things that are bad. And the intent is almost always to make a more fun game state for everyone. And yet these things came up, and with one notable exception. But at the very beginning of the game, when they first popped out the Sylvaneth, and they had the mechanic to where they could go zipping from tree to tree. And the thought at GW was, well, we have to do two things. Number one, we have to sell some more kits. So let's make a new set of woods to sell people. And then let's make those completely dependent for one of the factions. So now the Sylvaneth had to have woods. They had to have as many as they could possibly buy.
Yeah.
And then they had, in order to play them well, you had to be able to basically zone out the board so your opponent couldn't do crap because you filled the board with woods. And it was completely doable because your Durthus and your other big critters were casting a spell that made woods, on, I don't know, a 1-up. Oh, it was a ridiculously low number. And then, of course, you got your free trees at the beginning of the game, which is really, I think, what ruined this podcast in the terms of GW, because of Elric's rant on free trees was so good. Oh my God, that was so funny. But it was hilarious what the Sylvaneth could do with their tree making ability. And then their ability to just move around the board using their tree teleports was so devastatingly awesome. And it was, the guys at GW never expected people to buy 9 sets of the Wildwoods and play with them and literally cover the board with trees. They did not see that coming. They literally expected people to play the way they had it set up in their minds, where they would have 1 or 2 and they'd be able to get to, some different corners of the board, but it wouldn't become a problem until you made it to where giants couldn't move anywhere.
Yeah.
And bigger units couldn't move. They were zoned out of entire sections of the board.
And meanwhile, you're over there just capping points and
yeah.
Yeah. As you're talking about this, I remember the time when people where they literally printed out just essentially the outlines of the trees, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just because you couldn't get trees.
No, you could not get the kits.
They were not in stock.
Yeah.
And so someone would just, etch it out on a piece of cardboard, right? And then just cut, because they just needed so many trees.
You needed the 3 bases, and they needed to have, in the first iteration, they needed to be touching each other or within 1 inch of each other of 2 other ones. So you basically had to put them out in circles. And then they got rid of that and said they just need to be within 1 inch of another one. So then people would put them out in lines, which was even worse. Talk about zoning out entire armies. Oh my God. Oh, so
do you remember how we used to be able to just conga line units?
Oh God, you stretch them out across.
Yeah, because you only need to be within 1 inch? 1 inch of another model.
One model. Yeah.
One model. And so it was just, you would have conga line skinks or Chaos Marauders or whatever your cheapest unit was.
Anything small, and you'd stretch it across the board and there'd be no deep strike.
Yeah, you just zone out everything, so if anyone's up in the heavens, they're like, dang it.
Yeah, the entire Stormcast chambers couldn't come down because there was a couple of rats on the board. And you're just like, wow, this is great. Good thinking, guys.
I remember people were, because Skyfires back in 1.0 to 2.0 were just so scary.
Yeah.
I remember watching this tournament where essentially some guy set up a bunch of Chaos Marauders in a single file and created a block around his Kairos Fateweaver, his Lord of Change, and his 21 Skyfires. It was just so wild to see back in the day how what'd you say the number got up to 27, I think was the most you could get at one point.
Yep.
And it just, they were too efficient. They moved too quickly. They did mortal wounds like they just wanted to.
Because
It was just so wild. I mean, their shooting was like hands down the best. I think they had 2 shots, 4s, 3s, -1 D3 damage.
Yeah.
If I remember the profile correctly. But any 6 was an instant mortal wounds, D3 mortal wounds. Holy crap. Those things dominated.
Yeah, and you were talking about they were a 4-3, they were a 4-up, 3-up, but there were no caps on the pluses that you could get to hit.
That's right, though.
So you would stack them, and you would get them going on 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
And at which point, there's no army in the game at that time that could stand that could handle 27 of those. And so it was just a case of, it's not a question. The only thing that was remotely different was the mirror match. And at that point, it was, if you went second, you won the game.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you were stupid. Well, I mean, there were certain high-end games where people tried to shake something up or do something different, and it turned out that was stupid.
Yeah.
Because this was the way to play. This was the only way to play at the top end.
Yep.
Not for fun games. Of the hundreds of games at LVO, there was 8 that were highly competitive and looking for the big win, and that's the guys that were playing those lists. Everybody else was playing for fun and having a blast. That's, one thing about the game that's always been so refreshing is 90% of the people play to have fun games and to have fun lists. Yes, there's those people that are competitive. This is every game. Any game that has a competitive aspect to it is going to have those people that just want to win. And so get over it.
Yeah.
If you hate that, don't play them. If you don't care, play, have fun, enjoy it. Nobody cares. Nothing happens because we win or lose with our little plastic army men.
Oh my gosh.
But then we came into the time of the Slaanesh. Was it Slaanesh or Tzeentch?
Tzeentch was the one we were just talking about. That's the Skyfire domination.
Yeah, that
right?
was the Skyfire. Then we had Flying Dwarves.
Yeah, we did. I think Slaanesh came first. Slaanesh in 2.0 was like the scariest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Because those Keeper of Secrets, like I was so stoked because I just love the concept of Slaanesh. And they released these Keeper sculpts that are just the best thing you've ever seen, right? Oh, God. But their rules were friggin' bonkers.
And their summoning was ridiculously off the hook.
Yeah, because their whole thing where it's like, well, you're never going to get that many depravity points. And you're like, no, for every wound I cause, I get a depravity point.
No, really, I'll get that many in turn 1.
But the Keeper of Secrets had on a 3-up, you ignore attacks. Yes. No, not ignore attacks. You make them fight last. That's what it was.
Fight last.
Yeah. So you would charge in and you'd be like, nope. And they're like, okay. And then they just get vaporized.
Obliterated before they even get a chance to roll a die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild. I mean, people stopped playing because Slaanesh was too good.
I would not play against them. I was one of those people I would not play against because there's 0 point to playing a game where it's already, before you put the army on the table, it's over.
Yeah.
There's no point. There is no win condition for some other armies. Not all. Some could fight against it pretty well, but others could not.
I mean, they had to go through 2 nerfs to get Hedonites of Slaanesh in line. It was wild. Because even when they're like, oh, we're going to do it on a 4-up instead. Nope.
Wow. When I can stack buffs? Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So shit, now it only goes off on a 2-up. Damn it.
Oh, man. And real quick, if I'm remembering correctly, I want to go back to the Tzeentch thing. Was it originally written that it was on a roll of a 6+, not an unmodified roll of 6?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Yes.
That's because you stacked the buffs. And so you could just dump mortals because you'd have +4 to hit.
Yeah, that was it, because you were doing mortals on 4-ups. With your standard buffs, you were doing mortals on 4-ups. So, yeah, it was
insanity. It was insanity. Sorry, that just popped back into my head when we were thinking about buff stacking. So there was that, and then you had the dwarves. As soon as they could, fly high, like you can't catch them.
Yeah,
everything can shoot at you from the boat.
Yes,
like they would land, evaporate 1 to 2 units first turn.
Yes,
and then dip out.
Yeah,
it was wild.
Yes, it was absolute. The play style was absolutely hard to get your head around, and it was not easy to execute, but when you did it, it was game over.
Yeah.
They were the ultimate Alpha Strike with the Admiral directing and the Arcanaut Company, which is not a great unit. But having that ability to appear, blast the living crap out, and then be gone. It was, oh man, they were so...
Oh, and they also had the hijinks where they had the spell in a bottle.
Oh, God.
That the chemister could get. So they would also fly high, come down, drop usually the lightning vortex.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of your forces because the lightning vortex slows you and causes mortals, and then that ship would dip out.
Yeah.
Right. So it all depends on whether they're going to evaporate a unit or they're going to try and stick you in your deployment zone.
Yeah.
Either way, it sucked. It sucks so much playing against that, and they were dominating.
Yeah.
Tournaments for so long.
And then when they got nerfed, and this was the first time that we saw in AoS the nerf hammer, which actually just took them from I win everything to I'm not playable anymore.
Yeah.
And they just literally blasted them into oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed at how many swings they took in one document to basically say, you're not playing that. We've sold enough of these. You're not playing them anymore.
Well, I think that's because of what they went through with the Hedonites, right?
Yeah.
Where they like, all right, we'll nerf them. Oh, they're still dominating? Crap.
Mm-hmm.
We have to nerf them again. But we don't have a battle scroll for 3 months, I think that because of that, they overcorrected on the Karajan Overlords.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of gave way to showing just how powerful endless spells were, That spell in a bottle concept was absolutely ridiculous, but they were the only faction at that time that could reach out and take an endless spell that wasn't their own.
Yeah.
Right. They had no magic otherwise.
Right. Yeah, that was supposed to be the great limiting factor was, well, that's their only magic. They don't need magic. Will you please understand that having the ability to hit and not hit back is strong? Wow.
Yeah. Some would say that gun outweighs magic, right? Yeah. I mean, they were just donkulous. But, there was a while there where, like, endless spells, they were fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, they, you didn't take them all the time.
No.
Until, I remember when the Purple Sun had to be nerfed. That was in 3.0, right?
Yeah. And that took forever.
Oh my God. Yeah. But everyone was throwing that sun around like.
Yeah, it was between that, Shackles, and the Geminids, they were auto takes.
Yep.
You did not leave home without them. And they were ruining the game. They still are. And they were actually making it when they became free. And when that's, the indicator of when marketing took over writing the rules is, well, I mean, it's, we have to sell these. How do we sell them? And they looked at the designers and said, well, make them free so that everybody needs a set. But we can't do that. That's going to unbalance the game. And then marketing looked back and said, I'm sorry, did someone ask for your opinion? Put that in the game. And what's funny is you read the rule set and everything is so tight. Everything is so gorgeously well implemented. And the interactions are accounted for, and everything just works. Then you get to endless spells, and it's like, it's a free-for-all. Do whatever you want. Yay! And, you can just tell that was written by the marketing team, and it has nothing to do with the design of the game. It's, we need to sell this stuff.
Yeah, and, like, they are, them being obligatory, it's free, so you got to take it.
Yeah.
You're not leaving home without endless spells.
Well, you're on the back foot if you don't do it.
And I mean, granted, they changed them to where you can like kill the spells, which is interesting, but it's still wild to me that became, let me say it this way. Endless spells when they hit, it was super cool. And in the story, it was funny, how a rat got into Nagash's temple and just effed it all up. We're going to comment on the lore and the buffoonery of the characters a little bit later. So I'll save it for then. But it was this cool concept, and they had that huge box set that had every single endless spell.
Yeah,
like this is fun.
Yeah,
and then like you didn't really use them that much.
Well, they became tools that you used in your army to patch holes that were in your army. If you didn't have a method of slowing your opponent down, there were endless spells that would help you do that. If you needed to do mortal wounds, there was a spell that would help you do that. And they weren't these required objects. They were design choices. They were list building choices. And then they turned them into, no, this is a requirement. And even now, in 4th edition, it's like, oh, part of your list building is you have to determine what endless spell you have access to, period. And I'm just like, oh my God, stop.
Well, it was fun when they were first releasing them, not just because of the standard generic ones, right?
Yeah.
But because every faction was getting them.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to see like the sculpting and the design that they were coming up with.
Gorgeous, yeah.
And those ones became the ones you would more likely take, right? I mean, if you're a Skaven player, you didn't leave home without your lightning vortex, right? It's interesting that it feels like there's always like one endless spell you took from your faction box, because I'm thinking over to Flesh Eater Courts, you really only use the Chalice.
Yeah.
The other ones were okay.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking to the Beasts of Chaos, that bull was insanity.
Yes.
You didn't really take the Ravens. You weren't really too concerned about the morale issue.
No.
Can we talk about how there's never been an army that successfully did the morale bomb? Like everyone, that's something that's gone since 1.0. Everyone was trying to make the morale bomb.
They made that go away fast. Oh my God.
Yeah, when he gets to the point where you can be like, spend 1 command point and I don't run.
Yeah.
You're like, cool. Well, this army that I spent all this time building up to and
has just been negated by your 1 command point. Great. Thanks.
The change of command points, right?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, man, yes.
You used to essentially use your points, like army building points, to sell off to get command points just so you could do things. But command points were very scarce.
Yes. And that was such a resource, and it was such a valuable as that stock and trade has changed over the rule sections or over the rule changes. It's been really interesting to see how the thought process has departed from that. And I think we're in a good place with that now, where, okay, here's how we do it now. And it's so much better.
Well, if I remember correctly, command points were originally only used for like 2 things. One was auto run.
Yeah.
And the second was reroll any dice.
Yeah.
And back then you could spend 1 to reroll 2 dice, like on your charge,
Yeah.
But it's like for any roll, you can sink a command point to re-roll.
Yep.
That was wild. That was insanity.
And it made the 10-inch charge a reality. That was so much fun. It was so crazy.
Oh my gosh. Didn't Andrew like lose a tournament because he needed was it a 10-inch charge?
Yeah, it was a 9-inch
9-inch charge. Rolls. Okay, I've got a command point. Rolls. Still doesn't hit the 9, right? Like it was a viable strategy that if you were like within 9 to 10 inches and you had a command point for reroll, you went for the charge.
You went for it. Yeah. Just because. Oh my God. Yes.
Oh, wild how the command points have changed.
It's so, interesting how the design thought process has morphed over the years. It's so good. So they've done so well in so many areas, and they've regressed in a couple, but part of that is, I think they have finally gotten to the grips with the fact that balance is a nebulous thing and will never really achieve it. So unfortunately, that kind of leads to one of the downsides where the game needs some help.
Yeah.
And that is that because they understand that balance is way too nebulous, they've gone more into the idea of we need to make the armies more similar.
Yeah.
So that nobody has this real leg up. And the problem with that, and what I've really seen is like the last 2 releases being the Night Haunts and the Flesh Eater Courts, they are so watered down now. They're generic.
Yep.
Lady Alinder's card used to be a double fold out card because her rules were so extensive and the things that she could do, and a lot of her stuff was situational, but when that came up, she was bonkers good.
Yeah.
And, her lift availability was one of those things where it was constantly in the back of your head. When is the time to pop this?
When do I drop 2d6 mortal wounds on someone?
Yeah. And, when is it going to be impactful? And to now in this latest edition where she's really just a leader. And yeah, she has a ability that says lift the veil, and it's just a way of putting out wounds.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than a shooting attack. And, the Black Coach has gone from this thing where, back when it used to be, I got to do this and this and this. I got to get this many charges. I got to charge it up. And when I hit these different thresholds, I can either move incredibly fast, or I can teleport, or I can do the mortal wound bomb. And, it had flavor, it had character, it had stuff. And now the Black Coach is on a single card, and it's like, hey, look, it's a coach that does wounds and moves, and it's about as flavorful as, I don't know, gray paint on a wall. And it's really sad to me that their answer to play balance has been, let's just make everything the same. Everybody has a leader that buffs rend. Everybody has a leader that buffs charge. Everybody has a leader that buffs this and buffs that. And while the name may change and the wording of the ability might be like super dangerous zappy sword, and the other guy has super heavy hard sword, they're the same thing.
Yeah. Plus one hit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, the sword of 1,000. Anyway, sword of 1,000 truths. But, I get it. In order to rein things in, this is an answer, a design answer. I don't think it plays well.
Yeah, sort of the vanilla nature of each of the armies now, right? I think really hampered what the Hellsmiths of Hashut could have been on release. Their ability's okay. It just reminds me of like Nurgle disease points. Like it's sort of like the same kind of bookkeeping.
Yeah.
It's somewhat flavorful, It's interesting how they always want to throw in another resource that you have to manage that has, you absolutely require it in order to do things in the army. The models are great. And that's one of the things that AoS has really done well, is that over the years, the increase in the complexity and beauty of models is unparalleled, I have often said, I think Parabellum is, the real up and comer with sculpting, but GW has they've been ahead of the pack the entire time.
Yeah.
Freaking remember when Alariel dropped?
Oh, God.
Archaon, Everchosen, like...
I can remember when Alariel dropped, I just staring at that model, and then somebody said something about, oh man, that beetle is so cool. And I was like, what beetle? They're like, the thing that's twice the size of her and she's riding. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought that was just terrain she was on.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah. And then, you come out with the Lord of Change. And then some of the other models that they've come out with, some of the Bloodthirsters, some of the models that are, they literally define what can be done in injection molded plastic. And, it's so hard. Those little tiny details, like the chains that go from this part to this part, and actually seeing when you're building the kit that's two separate pieces, and you're like, no freaking way is it ever going to work. And then the way it goes together, you're just like, oh my God, that's so perfectly easy. Yep. I love this.
Yep.
I built Hera from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
What's the name? She's the Rohan lady. And she is such an incredibly detailed figure. And they give you two completely different sculpts. Of course, they leave off just enough parts to where you can't build two.
Exactly.
But that I don't blame them for that. But you have so much customization on her, it's ridiculous. And of course, you get the foot and mounted version. And it boggled my mind after building all these Shatterpoint models and all these other models. And then you go back and you build a GW model, which is considerably smaller. And the care they took to ensure that every mold line was hidden. Mm-hmm. Everywhere where you could possibly see where there was a mold line, So if you're a new hobbyist and you don't know about scraping down the mold lines and how exactly to cut these things off the sprue, it doesn't matter. Because when you put it together, everything that would look like crap is hidden. And what you end up with is a beautiful model that just, it works. It's so gorgeous. And this is where they've always been strong, and always, I think, where they've led the charge in the design space is with AoS, because they're a lot more free in AoS to do crazy stuff.
Yes.
If you start making weird looking Primaris Marines, oh my God, you're going to...
The neckbeards will be at your door.
Yeah.
It's such a great space that they've been able to work on over these 10 years. And don't forget, folks, you can go vote for your favorite model over the last 10 years on the website.
Yes.
I went and did it. I voted Archaon. I'm just going to tell you right now. Archaon's model to me is unparalleled.
Superior.
That model it's shocking what they were able to do with that. And like the lore implications of the model too. Like that's a really cool thing about AoS is that they can implicate the lore in their sculpting, seeing what Dorgar has become, from what was just a horse looking demon before is now like, holy crap, I have, one of my favorite parts about AoS has been putting the models together.
Yeah, always.
Painting the models.
It's always such a joy to build these models. Even the models that we truly hate are the ones from the old days.
Yeah.
The
old ones,
Spirit hosts and what have you. Yes, they're horrifyingly bad. You start picking up these newer model kits and they're just a joy to build. And they are really relaxing and enjoyable and fun to build. And I just, like I said, the engineering of covering up their own mold lines, it's so smart.
Right.
So smart, so that you give a new hobbyist, a new person in the hobby, a model that actually looks like the one on the box. And then they'll have a store nearby where they'll show you how to paint it to where you can approximate that.
Yeah.
Maybe not, you're not going to hit that level of heavy metal painters, but you can get reasonably close enough for you to be proud of it.
Yep.
And then you grow from there. One thing before we close this out, I really want to do a shout out for, and that is the Neon community, the narrative event organizers who work so tirelessly to make AoS events, worldwide events that just freaking work.
Yeah.
And, be damned with all the criticisms that we have of the game. There's a lot of people that love the game and they play the game and they love the armies. And having that ability to express yourselves through, LVO is wrapping up as we speak. And I know Nero was out there running the AoS narrative event out there and looking at some of the plans that he had and some of the things that he was implementing. I can imagine how much fun those people were having.
Right. And,
the same thing goes for the guys over at Nova, where they just knock it out of the park every single time. I think the narrative community in AoS is the strongest of any game I've seen. And it's all really driven by that Neon community, the narrative event organizer network, who they share ideas. They bounce things off of each other. They figure out what's going to work and what probably won't, and they go with it. And, you talk about those internet-based worldwide campaigns, the animosity campaigns. This is something that GW can only dream about doing.
Of course, yeah.
And these guys pull it off every year, a couple times a year.
That's awesome.
Without really, thinking about it, they've designed the websites to make it easy. They knock it out of the park. And so if for nothing else, if you love narrative gaming, this is where AoS shines so brightly with the inbuilt path to glory. And yeah, I know we spend a lot of time bad-mouthing them for dumbing it down and the stupidity of the endless spells. Yeah, they're out there. Just play with them. It's okay. It's not going to materially affect your life. Trust me. But yeah, just the narrative community drives so much of the fun. And last but not least, if you ever want to really see how good AoS really is, watch Rob, the Honest Wargamer, and watch him as he breaks down the different tournaments that happen all over the world.
Yeah.
And watch what the winning lists are. And every now and again, you'll see a list or two dominate for a week or two. Oh, this is the unkillable list. And then the next week, it's all completely different. And when you see the churn at the top 10 lists, and you see every faction appearing at some point. Even the factions that are underperforming are showing up in these top 10 lists. So underperforming is sort of a myth. And, it's a testament to the fact that they have finally hit on a rule set and a set of points and abilities where the game is balanced. And yes, I know I was just sitting there bitching about how Nighthaunt and Flesh Eaters feel the same. Well, yeah, but you can find your home inside. If you truly like the death factions, you'll find your home and you'll build the army that suits you.
Yeah.
And so what if it doesn't have all the flavor that some old bastard from a podcast says is missing? It's not. I enjoy it. Go play it. Have fun.
Yeah. I mean, AoS has been an amazing journey. That's what got me into the hobby, period, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for years I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather play my Magic cards, know, that kind of thing. But it, becomes like my zen when I really sit down and I need it. I've been really busy, which is why I haven't really sat down to focus on painting. But last night I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my work down and I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to paint because I need this. And it felt so good. And, the hobby provides so many different things for different people.
Yeah.
If you're someone who doesn't like to play and you just like to build and paint, do it.
Yeah.
Right. If you're someone who doesn't like to build and paint, right, then I'm sure there's someone you can pay to help you out. Yeah. Right. Either way, it's enjoyable. You're going to find something you like in it. And it's sort of like therapy, that's been my therapy for a long time. And if I'm down in the dumps, I either build a model or I paint a model,
Yeah.
And I find that if you embrace it that way, realizing that the hobby aspect of itself can actually be somewhat healing for you.
Yes.
Particularly since, we're coming up in the darker months of the year.
Yep.
So it's important that everyone takes care of themselves.
Yes.
Right. So please make sure if you're starting to feel any type of way that you look for resources.
Yeah. We're going to hit it more in the next show, but we're coming up on that time of year that some people very obliviously think of as the most joyous time of the year, not realizing that there's a lot of people out there that don't find it that way at all, and that really struggle to get through. So we'll address a lot of that in the next show. We sure as heck will, with perhaps even a special guest to talk about something like that. But what are we going to talk about in the next show? Conquest.
Conquest, that rules update.
Spice on spice. Here's what I will say about Conquest. After the rules changes to the Nords, I realized that I don't really truly enjoy playing them anymore because of the way the playstyle changed.
Yeah.
And that's completely okay.
Yeah.
Because you can build into different Nord lists, which I have to do. I have to build into a completely different list to play it the way I want to play it. But at the same time, I can be playing my 100 Kingdoms.
Yeah.
And I'm really itching to put my city-state stuff together. I know they're bad. I know, and when I say bad, they only win 50% of the time, or 48% of the time. I know they're not the top of the heap, but I also know that A, they're going to get some changes here soon, but B, they're so cool looking. And oh my God, their terrain is so good. Oh, but I don't know. I'm so torn. But yeah, we will go over those changes because they are significant. And the Dwegholm changed quite a bit. The Wadroon got another round of, I don't want to say nerfs, but they got changes to, they said that this was going to be an ongoing process with the Wadroon to morph them into what they had originally envisioned. And this is the next set of that, as well as some basic changes to the game that just make brilliant sense. And some faction changes that are going to maybe take some people by surprise. Like I know that Ashen Dawn thing was like, they did what? They did what? Yeah. So now you can reinforce your Ashen Dawn, which, for the longest time I said the best change in the game was not allowing reinforcements to Ashen Dawn. And now I'm sitting there going, it's not such a big thing anymore. And they saw that. They saw how that, there are solid counters now to Ashen Dawn. So who cares if they have 4 stands or 5 stands? They'll go down just like anybody else.
It's true. That's the brilliance of Conquest, is their ability to balance with such elegance.
Yeah.
And like with just minor changes.
Yep.
And Ashen Dawn are not a problem anymore. I mean, they've already priced them to the point where like you really can't afford to go too heavy on Ashen Dawn.
No.
I mean, 260, and then we said 90 points a stand after.
90 per stand, yeah.
Yeah, so if you add 3 more, it costs more than the original unit did.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a fourth of your army. Yeah, 6 models.
Do you really want to quarter your army in 6 models?
Yeah.
Now, if you can make it to where they don't die, which you can't, by the way, that could be it could be an army archetype. You could do that twice. So you could actually have half of your army be Ashen Dawn. You better hope to hell you don't run into somebody that knows how to deal with Ashen Dawn, because insta-loss for you. But
I mean, if you're looking at that, 12 models is over half your army.
Yeah.
Right?
Well over, yeah.
And like, you really need to spend the rest of your time trying to get someone who can stand on an objective, because if not, you're just going to lose the game, right?
Well, and that's just it, is the loss of flexibility that you have with those 2 big units, which incidentally, if you had any brains, you'd make it 4 individual 3-man units. But even still, you have to have the leader that can take them. So now you're adding another 110 points. He has to have at least the abilities, and one of them is going to have the relic to make them impactful and able to get around the table. But at which point you're only going to be in 4 different places, because the rest of your army is literally going to be tied up points-wise in the ability to hold an objective, because you don't win a game by killing your opponent off the board. You have to take things, and having your Ashen Dawn tied up taking an objective point is about stupid. So yeah, we'll get into all that. Yeah. For now, sign us off.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. And if you are subscribed, well, I guess we'll see you after dark for some White Dwarf discussion with colorful language from Bill.
You will hear colorful language, which is one of the reasons why I made the last After Dark a free After Dark. Everybody could get it, because it wasn't that over the top. I would not make this one free.
So if your kids are around, cover their ears, I suppose, or I don't know, have them leave the room. Go listen in your car.
Send them to bed.
Yes.
Even if they're in the car.
Tuck and roll. Yeah. Tuck and roll. All righty, folks. So we'll see you after dark.
The Albuquerque Narrative Gamers Podcast, or Anger Podcast, is protected under the Creative Commons license. You can find information for this at creativecommons.org. Information and links about the show's topics will be in the show notes, as will any other copyright information that needs to be presented.